Hi, I'm Sophia Louisa Lee. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of So Zoom In. Please hit like and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. I love bringing you people who are in the creative flow. Today, I am bringing you a staple in the Hollywood entertainment industry, Danielle Eskinazi. She is a casting director. She's been around for quite a long time and she knows what she's doing. I am so happy and excited to have her on as my guest. So thank you so much for watching. I admire you so much. You put yourself out there.
Thank you.
You own your own business. You work in an industry that's probably one of the toughest industries ever. You love actors and you're constantly working.
I do.
And you're a mom.
Yes, so far so good.
Right?
And I'm a mom. Yeah.
Yeah. So
a single mom.
Well, that's even harder. But
yeah, exactly.
So I remember when I first met you, I went to one of your workshops years and years ago, and I loved your passion for what you do. How did you become a casting director? What inspired you to take that route in life?
Well, I was looking for something that I was very passionate about, and I hadn't found it. I was in the retail business, and though it was fun in my younger days, I just got really tired of it. And a friend of mine who was working at Triad at the time in the 80s, it was like Triad, ICM, William Morris, and Triad was a big one. So I was talking to her about it, and she said, why don't you try, being a casting assistant? And I was like, well, what do they do? I was so oblivious to, I would go to the movies and I would see credits and I think, wow, that's a great job. So she got me a job right away, and that was with Risa Brayman and Billy Hopkins, who are huge in the industry. But back then they were just sort of starting out. And they were working on two films, one in the East Coast, one in the West Coast, and they needed a West Coast casting assistant. So they hired me, and, I told my friend, do they know that I've never done this before? But they hired me and trusted me. And, till this day, Risa Brayman is my mentor, and I talked to her. I was just on her podcast as well. And she just taught me so much. And one of the other mentors that would call me in, who was a manager at the time, was Lee Daniels. So I had amazing angels around me who sort of led me to the path where I am today.
So when did you decide you wanted to have your own business? That this is something,
as a casting director, you don't know. It just sort of happens. So you get, after I was assisting Ronnie Eskel and Vicki Thomas for a while, I did about 3 or 4 years of apprenticeship and learning the business. Disney called me, and I was recommended by someone. I don't even know to this day, but anyway, I did a couple of Disney films, and that sort of put me on the map because I found Mila Jovovich and put her in her first film. Found Hank Azaria, put him in his first film with Sean Penn. So after that, it was snowballing, and I was working in independent films for a while. And then another door opened and went through it, and a commercial company said that they needed or looking for a casting director who cast films, and they wanted me to do their commercials. And I just never went back to films. I just love the pace so much.
Wow. Well, what's so great is like nowadays commercials seem to be like very mini little films.
Yeah, they are, for sure.
Story. So how do you like doing this? Because it is so fast paced and you're constantly moving and hustling and networking. And
yeah, we're basically doing the same thing actors are doing. I update my reel every time I have a new commercial. I have my assistant send out reels to new production companies, old production companies. So we're constantly moving. We don't sit around, because I've been doing this for 23 years, like, oh, they'll just hire me. It doesn't work like that. There's always someone else they want to hire. So you sort of want to keep yourself in the know. And just because I love actors so much, I'm on Twitter a lot and trying to help them as much as I possibly can, walking through the pace of commercial world.
Right. Well, you're also dealing with a lot of ad agencies. Is working with an ad agency a lot different than working with a producer? Or even, I mean, is it like two
Well,
different?
they work together. They work together. So the production company, I'll tell you how it goes. Production company hires me, either the producer or the director. The ad agency hires the production company, the director, and then they hire me. So when everybody is feels safe as a casting director to hire them, that's when I start my job.
Type of thing where you work with the same people over and over again, or do you find that there's like a big flux?
If you're lucky, yes, because you wanted to have a relationship with them and you want them to want to work with you, you know. So, not only your craft is important, but also how you get along with them as well. That's really, really important, is a relationship. And that's how you build relationships.
So when we had this massive life-altering pandemic that it seems like we're barely just starting to get out of, how did that change everything for you and your company?
Well, it wasn't like it was in 2020 where I was working consistently. Everything just stopped. And that could happen at any time, even when things are going great, all of a sudden nobody wants to hire you. So that's really, because I'm a freelance casting director. So that's a little scary, but you just have to keep going and just keep sending your reel out. If you're working hard toward what you want to achieve, things will come back, eventually. It might be, sort of a quiet moment, but you're not going to be irrelevant. You're always going to, if you're working forward towards something, it'll always happen. And that's what I felt throughout my whole career.
Right. Just keep pushing forward.
Yeah. You just can't keep stagnant.
Exactly. Well, something that is new because of the pandemic are self-tapes at home. How has that changed? I mean, what do you think of that, or how do you feel about it?
Self-tapes have been going on for a really long time, especially theatrically. More so now. I myself am not crazy about self-tapes, so we try to do Zoom as much as possible because, we could actually direct them and we could be in the room with them. Self-tapes, you have to have confidence in order to be happy with what you send out. I always tell people, and I have classes, and I always tell people, don't send out, don't record yourself 10 times. By the 10th time, you won't know what to send. So do the first 3 and then really figure out what you want to send, but don't keep on doing it over and over because you'll find the mistakes. And it won't be honest, it'll be so rehearsed.
Well, that's another thing. It seems like in society, it's like you have to have the perfect hair, the perfect teeth, the perfect skin. But for commercials, you want it to be relatable and real.
Right.
So
exactly.
Is that something that's hard when you find with actors when they submit? Or
what do you mean?
Well, so if you have an actor, who was so worried about, being the perfect size, the perfect hair, the perfect skin, to focus on the exterior, how do you find someone who really goes in for that interior authenticity, real moment? Even though
commercials aren't what they used to be. It's not the blonde hair, blue-eyed, white teeth girl anymore on the beach holding a beach ball. You know what I mean? It's now we're looking for more grounded authenticity, lifestyle kind of people. In fact, I was just hired to cast a job in Florida on Zoom. And it's all lifestyle. So there's no dialogue. It's just the way that you look, but it's not, and all my directors are like, no models. They want it as grounded, as authentic as possible, because this is real life. We're in real life now.
Right.
The same thing when they were combining ethnicities and families. I was like, finally, because I have friends who are multi-ethnic and are together and are really happy, So that has changed in the last 4 or 5 years, maybe more. But it gives us more of an incentive to cast disabilities, to cast mixed races, because that's real, and that's going on in the world.
Right. Well, there's so much going on in the world.
beside everything else. Yeah.
Okay. But you just keep moving forward. So has it ever come to a point where you really like an actor and say the producer doesn't for whatever reason, but would you advocate for that actor, or do you just let it go with the final say of what the producer
Well,
wants?
there's reasons, and it wouldn't be the producer. In commercials, it's always the director and the ad agency. So if what happens is if the director is like, I've worked with them before, I don't like how they, are on the set. They were giving us trouble. I'm not going to fight that. That's his experience. If the ad agency and the director both disagree on one person, they sometimes look to me and go, what do you like about them? And so I could put in my 2 cents, but that's pretty much in the end. We have there's the writer in the room, there's the director, there's the EP in the ad agency, there's the producer of the production. So it's all these people combined making a huge decision to take these selected people to bring it to the people that hired them, all of us, the clients, we call them. So that's a big thing. So there's a lot of discussion once you leave our callback. There's a ton of discussion and everybody goes sort of back and forth. And sometimes we're there for hours and hours and hours.
Well, I don't think actors really realize all the work that happens, and I know it's like you can never take anything personally as an actor.
Never, especially in commercials. It's like you don't know what they're looking for. They have something in mind. And sometimes, they tell me what they are looking for. And then I read the script. I'm like, wouldn't it be good if we added this type of person? And then they come to this sort of fruition that's like, oh, we didn't think of that. They're great. So that's what makes my job really, really exciting, is that I could pepper in my people as well.
Well, I see that you did a commercial recently with Robert Downey Jr.
I did.
How'd that happen?
That was awesome. Well, I had to sign a huge NDA, first of all. So the most exciting part for me is, we couldn't tell the actors who was in this commercial. So when we finally hired the actors who were playing casting directors, they walked on set and there was Robert Downey Jr. and I got a call right away. And the agents were like, are you kidding me?
Oh, how fun.
He's my unicorn. We love him. Oh my God. And they said they had a blast and he was the nicest guy to work with. So all in all, it was such a great experience for all of us, and it looks great on my reel.
Yeah, it does. And then I saw one with Martin Scorsese also. That looked
that. Oh, him. And then I had Ben Affleck on my reel. I did a huge Win commercial with Ben Affleck. He directed it, wrote it, and produced it. So
I remember that one.
Yeah, that was a big job too. And then there was one with Seth Rogen and Paul Rudd and Amy Schumer. It was a beer commercial. That was really fun. That was for Super Bowl.
You do some great stuff.
It's fun.
Yeah. And
fun.
And I love that you love the actors so much. You have your app out, Danielle Casting.
That app's not working anymore.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Updated. Yeah, I have to find a guy to sort of help me update it. It was great for about 4 years, and then the guy that did my app disappeared, and I don't know where he is. But I have to redo that for sure.
Okay. And then how about ActVice?
ActVice, yes. That's my classes.
Okay.
So I have classes either once a month, depends, or every other month, but they're always pretty much quickly booked out. And I only take 11 people, so I could really work with them and not take like 25 people in a class. I like to focus on what they, really want to work on and why they're there.
Do they usually know the answer to that?
Yeah, I mean, they're like, I'm not getting callbacks. I used to get callbacks. I don't know what happened, or, my dialogue isn't as strong as it used to be, and has, we do like a half hour of Q&A in the beginning before we even start the dialogue class. So I just want to hone in on exactly what they want to work on and help them through that process.
Well, and I know another big issue for actors are headshots. What do you look for in headshots? basically.
So easy. I'm not crazy about the really bright backgrounds. Like, there was a time when it was like bright orange and a girl would be wearing a yellow dress. And it's like, well, who are you? Show me your face. I like the theatrical only because they feel a little bit more grounded and more authentic. So I'm not, obviously in commercials, you want to show your teeth because, if there's a Crest commercial, you want to, be cast in it. But mostly authentic and grounded, just, shoulder up, face camera. The eyes are everything for me. So, I really, really connect with the eyes. So, these kinds of, don't work. So it's always, or like,
right. If you had a chance to do anything else other than what you do, what would you do?
a forensic scientist.
That is, you kind of do that with casting.
I guess I do. Yeah, I love all my shows are 48 hours, Dateline, and all those amazing shows. Not the horrible part of what these people do, but mostly how the brain works, and it is sort of what I do as well. It's forensic casting.
All the different types of people. Have there ever been any serious chaotic moments during an audition?
Oh yeah, totally. There's been tons. I mean, I've been doing this for almost 24 years. I was casting a film with one of my partners at the time, Arlene Schuster-Goss, who's amazing. And it was after hours and the last person never showed up. So it was like 8:00. We were wrapping up and this guy walked in very disheveled and he pulled a gun on us. And that was the character. But we didn't know he was going to do that. So we sort of saw our lives flashing before us. So that was a little scary. He did all the dialogue. So at that point, we're like, okay, we could breathe. He's an actor. But I had to call his agent and say, don't do that.
Yeah.
That was a scary moment.
Wow.
And and one of my commercials won an Emmy. So that was really cool. It was for Facebook. It's called Take This Lollipop. And my director, Jason Zada, asked me to do it. And he had nothing in the budget for me. And I was like, I'll do it. That's okay. Because I work with him all the time. And it won a Daytime Emmy.
Oh, great.
So those are moments that are highlighted in my life that make me feel like this is why I'm doing it. This is pretty awesome.
And just keep doing it. So if a producer came to you to cast an indie film, would you do so? Are you open to something like that, or do you want to just primarily stick with commercials?
I mean, I love commercials. If it's something that I really, really believe in, and I think it's a really good, upstanding story that I could relate to, I would probably do it. I did one 2-3 years ago and send a cast to Moldova. That was before anything bad was happening over there. But I really liked the script and I liked the characters of the actors. So I did that and it was really fun.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, so would you say you get to know your actors that you work with regularly, or are you always constantly looking for new faces? I
mean, I have my staple of actors that I know that if I'm doing a national network comedy spot, that they're going to deliver. And then, I like to look for new actors because I don't want my reel to look the same, with the same actors in every spot, and neither does the director. So I'm looking for new actors and new faces.
So I know AI is the flavor of the month lately. Everyone's talking AI this and AI that. Do you see it taking the place or being integrated into what you do as a casting director?
I don't know. I mean, I think, producers do not like to cast. In fact, I've had some production ad agencies who do it all, who cast and produced all in one spot. Mm-hmm. And recently they were like, we've been doing it for too long and we don't want to do it anymore. And it's not even saving them so much money, but at least we deliver a whole package that they're looking for. Whereas if they put it out on Breakdown and they're not casting directors, it's just different. It's a different feel. That's someone who does it every single day,
Right.
just pulling in people because of their faces isn't going to do it. You have like 15 seconds, 10 seconds in a commercial that you have to prove your point. And so now these kind of ad agencies are looking for casting directors again to sort of take that responsibility away from them.
Right. So what would be an automatic yes or an automatic no upon a first look at a photo?
When I guess, I mean, I don't know. It just depends on what they're looking for. You know what I mean? Automatic no's, blurry shots, not great headshots. I know that they don't have the substance that I need to cast a commercial if it just doesn't look professional. I wouldn't trust it.
Right.
So headshots are everything.
Right. Invest the money. Get it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you don't have to do it like every 5 months unless you change your hair or guys grow a beard or a mustache. I want to know who's walking into my office. If I pick your picture, I want to know that that person is walking into my office.
So what happens if that person does not walk into your office?
It's disappointing. It's very disappointing, because we're looking for a specific character. And if that character had a full big beard and he walks in clean shaved, it doesn't do me any good.
Right.
Yeah.
So say an actor gets called in that had a big beard but had to shave it for something else. Could they call and let you know?
Yeah, they should call and at least let me make that decision.
I see.
I could either say, well, no, they're looking for sort of pirate looking guys, very gruffy, or homeless looking guys, or, anything like that. And if he looks, coming in clean shaven, looking good with, cologne on, right. It's not going to happen. I can't put him on tape. And the other thing is I don't put everybody on tape either. If you can't follow redirection and you keep on doing the same thing over and over again, and it's not something we're looking for, I can't send that tape out to my director because he's going to say, well, what's happening here?
Right.
So you really have to follow direction.
Right. So you pretty much pick the ones you like or the ones you think do a good job.
Yeah. So I have a good solid link to send to my client and my director.
So roughly how many people do you, like, say you have a national commercial, how many people would you audition for that?
On Zoom or in real life? Oh. Okay. So Zoom is a little bit more technical. So I hire someone in the lobby part of it to make sure that they're set up. When they go in, they start acting. So when they come in, I'm not like, can you put your camera a little higher, or can you have enough room to stand so we can get a full body, or, so that's why I hire someone in there. So when they come in, we start the audition right away. I could possibly see 25 to 35 per character.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So that could be
It's not a lot.
It's not?
No. I used to see tons more.
How about in person?
And it also depends if there's dialogue or if it's just a look. If it's just a look, I could see more. If it's a lot of dialogue, I see less.
Okay. So if it's in person, is it a lot more?
It could be more, because then we have the ability to sort of scoot them in. There's no technicality that we have to fix or anything like that. They go right into it.
Oh, cool. So normally what are your callbacks like? Roughly the percentage of people you bring back?
That depends on who they pick. So it's usually like 10 to 15 people per character. And that's the agency and the director picking people. And if they crisscross, it's less. So we always like when they crisscross, because then they're all on the same page.
All right. So say you have a commercial fully cast. At what point does your part end? Or are you still on call throughout the production of the
No, I make sure that I'm done. What we do is we book them, and then they fill out this sort of form, and they give us their address, their phone number, their sizes, and we send a whole file to the director, and we say, it's yours now. It's a nice little package. Yeah, just yesterday, a producer was like, well, here are the contracts for them to sign. And I'm like, yeah, well, we don't do that. I think it's better that production does it in case there's any, weird things or questions that they ask for, or, anything that they're bothered about that wasn't on the original breakdown. You might want to take that over. And they're like, yeah, no problem.
Right. So do you work generally with managers and tele-agents, or do you ever work with the actors?
Mostly agents. I don't know if managers are allowed to submit, actually, unless they don't have an agent. Okay. I think that's how it kind of goes.
Do actors ever just reach out to you on their own, or can they?
No, they know better. I'm on Twitter all the time, and I'm like, no, don't do that, because it's just not going to happen. I mean, if everybody did that, could you imagine? My son would be 18 years old and I wouldn't know who he was.
All right. So when you have your classes and people take classes, do you ever call those students in for auditions if they have?
If they're right. I don't do pay or play. If they're not, and they know that from the very beginning, and I'm very clear about that. You're not here to audition for me for a commercial. You're here to learn. And that's really, really important to me. So I'm a casting director, but if you're not right for a project, I'm not going to hire you or bring you in.
Actors need to know those boundaries.
Absolutely. And we talk about that on Twitter all the time. There are boundaries, and I also tell them, how to act on Twitter with casting directors. You don't start tweeting a casting director and say, will you hire me? And people have done that. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to hire you. That's not the process.
Right.
Your agent, let them, submit you for parts that are right for you, and I'll absolutely see you.
All right. Well, it's like you're in administration almost. It's like you are bringing in the producer, you're bringing in the talent. It's like you're right in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sort of the usher.
Right. Keeping everyone happy. So what is your favorite process in all of this? What excites you most?
Of this whole casting thing? Yeah. Booking talent, because I know that it changes their life. There's been so many actors who are like, I didn't know if I was going to leave this business. And, all of a sudden they book and they're like, oh my God, I'm going to go on. You know what I mean? Because it's a long haul, it's a long haul to get a call back. It's a long haul to book a job. You just have to keep at it. And if this is your passion, you have to just be consistent.
Would you want your son to get into the business?
No. Yeah, he was just offered a part by this other actor. And he's 8 years old. He's the funniest kid I've ever met. And he was reading with me what it entailed. And I was like, so do you want to do this? It's 5 lines. And all the way down the list, that what they were talking about, it said $50. And he pointed to $50 and he goes, I'll do it. I said, read the script first if you want to do it. But I was like, that's my kid. Mr. Entrepreneur.
Wow. So was it for a commercial or?
I don't know. I'm waiting for the script to come. So I'm going to read it to him and see if he's interested. If he doesn't want, I've taken him to auditions because he's so damn cute. And he'll go in there and play with the casting director. But as soon as the cameras would turn on, he was like, not interested. So maybe if he gets older, but I'm definitely not going to push him.
That's cool. Might surprise you.
It's true. He might.
So where do you see casting going in the future?
I mean, it's been pretty consistent. There's been tons of changes since the pandemic, but it's been pretty consistent. I mean, I hope it stays where it stays. It's such a great job that I have that I love so much. And I just hope that it just, follows through in the future. I just love my job so much. It's when you find your niche, you know what I mean? That you're just going to work hard to keep it.
Right. Yeah. And you want to do something that makes you feel good, right?
Totally. And it's all goodness. It's all good. It's all positive,
Right.
You make actors happy, you make the director, the clients happy. It's a love fest, if you're, doing it with love and passion and kindness, mostly. It's very important. The casting directors really treat the actors well and very respectful. And I've seen some of that not happening in the past, and that bothered me. So that's why I changed, and that's why I've been on Twitter, because I think they all need a voice.
Yeah, everyone does. Yeah, but that's
I mean, they're cattle. They go in, they go out. They go in, they go out. It's nice to stop them and sort of humanize the relationship between the actor and the casting director.
Oh, good. Well, I admire you so much, Danielle.
Well, thank you. That's so sweet. I appreciate it.
You also have a podcast, right, with Katie?
I did have a
Yeah.
Having a kid was not easy. It takes up a lot of your time. But I've been on tons of podcasts. I don't have the time to do any more podcasts on my own. It takes a lot of work. But that's sort of just on a halt right now. Yeah.
Well, I'm grateful to have you on mine. So thank you very much. And
you're so welcome.
And I love seeing you on Twitter. And I love how you inspire actors and so many other people too. You really you put out that inspiration I think we all need.
Thank you so much.
So I appreciate that.
Thank you. That means a lot, because you keep on doing it and doing it because you love what you do, and just to hear that back is very rewarding. So I appreciate it.
Well, so you're working on several projects at the same time, or
I just finished a PayPal, and the actors went to San Francisco to shoot it, which is fun. And now I'm casting one in Florida. So it's all on Zoom, so I don't have to fly to Florida. And with 26 principals. So this is a huge project that I start on Monday. Yeah.
Will you be using local hires in Florida?
Yeah, all local. Definitely. Yeah, they're not flying anybody there. It's non-union. It's kind of, the budgets aren't what they used to be, unfortunately.
Well, do you find that there are more non-union commercials than there are?
50-50.
Okay.
Yeah. 40. Success. I mean, it really depends, on their budgets. There has been less nationals that they've had for a long time, unfortunately, but there's a lot of non-union stuff going on. And there's a lot of FICOR actors too that are like, I need to work.
You want to work.
I want to work, but I always say stick with the union and stick with SAG as much as you possibly can.
Right. Well, I know things are, as long as people keep working and keep creating, and you've always been in that creative flow, which
it's fun. Yeah. It's the art, but they also have to know the business part of it too. There's a whole business part of it that, it's great to, have that creativity, but also read the contracts, make sure everything's on the up and up. You have to know all the lingo as well.
Have you been in a situation where the contract wasn't really what they had presented?
Yeah, I've gotten calls from actors and I'm like, that's not what I was given. And then I would have to call the producer and they're like, oh yeah, we put that in. I'm like, you can't do that.
Right.
They're going in with a specific contract in mind. You can't change it once they're on the set. So They usually change it back and negotiate or they just put it back to its original status.
So when you offer classes, is that one of the things you cover too, the business side of it?
I'm going to incorporate that because I think, but a lot of the actors ask me tons of questions about it. So I do this Q&A, and if they have questions about contracts, about self-tapes, about Zooms, about, anything, we go over it. So they're clearer on it before they go on set.
Oh, that's so great. Well, you're right. There is so much information out there, and nothing like experience than to really along.
Knowledge is power for sure.
And you just have to use it.
You have to use it. Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask questions,
Well, some actors are intimidated by casting directors.
Exactly.
Why?
And that's what I want to take away. I don't want them I want them to feel comfortable enough that they could perform and ask those questions, that they don't know.
Well, so when you have a producer or ad agency, do you ever feel intimidated yourself, or do you feel like you can, right?
No,
Right. Exactly.
no, because I'm protecting them, the ad agency, and I'm protecting the actor. So
Right.
yeah, I'm the middleman. I want to make sure that once they're on the set, there's no complications.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's why you're a powerhouse. It's like, you are. You definitely are. I feel one of the staples in Hollywood in this industry. It's like you are the go-to person, I believe, for casting. And if I were to ever produce a big commercial or even film, I'd say, okay, Danielle's top of my list.
That's right.
Yeah. And I'm putting that out there for all the producers out there. Danielle Eskinazi,
That's right. No, forget that.
A game going all the time. So I'm definitely a huge fan, Danielle.
Thank you. Thank you, Sophia. I really appreciate it. Yeah, this was fun. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you for being on. And, people need to know more about you. So thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, you're sweet. Thank you. And let me know when it's out. I'll tweet it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
I hope to get it hopefully posted this weekend, or definitely early.
Okay. Yeah, let me know. Send me the link and I'll post it to, I think I'm up to 65,000 followers now. So
awesome.
Let them all see it.
Do you do Instagram too, or just?
Yeah, I'm totally on Instagram. Yep. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I'm new on TikTok.
Okay.
1,000 followers.
You have to start somewhere, right?
You got to start somewhere. Exactly.
Yeah,
but it's all fun. And I love it. I love communicating with people. So.
Right. Well, so, I'm doing a lot of my own production stuff now. I'd like a little tiny. I figure, I will get to the point of having a, bigger budget and bigger production. And you're top of my list, Danielle.
Oh, you're sweet. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think all actors should have their own content. You can do that now. You didn't have that years and years ago, Right. So produce your own stuff for sure.
Exactly. Especially,
out there.
The longer we're around, it's like, gotta make it stuff happen.
Exactly. Totally.
Best
Absolutely.
of luck with everything. And
thank you, Sophia. Have a wonderful weekend and relax the brain over the weekend. Take it easy.
Have a great weekend, Danielle. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.